because either council wasn't aware of what they signed or the city manager abused authority. About Council Policy 30004, the amended version, I just want to point out a few things. Nowhere does it ever say that it's exempt from our city codes, by the way. So at the end of the policy here, design review policies shall be fully complied with. That's on the end of the policy paragraph. But going into the procedures here, procedure number 1, applicant shall review City Code 2044 telecommunications facilities to be fully informed about standards, requirements, and regulations for telecommunications facilities in the city of Santa Rosa. Now, I don't know. Seems like you should have to follow the codes. Oh, did I lose my projector here? We'll skip ahead here. Okay, well, yeah. Okay. Number 3 here, it says, should manager or his designee be interested to pursue a request, the applicant shall be asked to submit a written conceptual proposal. See Exhibit A. In Exhibit A, we have several things here, including the power requirements, frequency and range, transmitter output. There's 7 things. We put out a California Public Records request, and none of this was ever done. Okay? So that was never done, your procedure number 3. Then in number 4, should the manager or designee determine the development or installation is potentially feasible, you need to do Exhibit B in this form. And here's Exhibit B. And that was never done either. We just skipped ahead to the encroachment permits without following your own procedures. Also, environmental impact. Somehow, 72 small cells, the equivalent of 24 macro towers, is exempt from CEQA. And there's no documentation of that either. Even if it's exempt, there needs to be documentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gregory Furon, followed by Bob Hanson.
Tom Sawyer, I'm an electrical engineer. I've lived in Santa Rosa for 31 years, and I oppose the cell towers in residential neighborhoods. It appears, and it's just a little foggy yet, but your 300-4 policy is it's a little foggy, but I'm just going to go with the fact that it mandates that all of the city, all parts of the city, have to follow 20-44, which is for telecommunication companies putting in towers in the city. And except for parkways. And parkways are, the right-of-ways that are in the city. The parkways are in front. People have their trees and flowers and shrubs and so forth there. But you've allowed that to be exempt from 20-44, and the telecom companies can just come in and pretty much follow whatever standards they're going to follow. And as you can see here, this is a lithium battery backup box, and I'm pointing this out because there are no standards, that they don't have to follow your codes. And so you see this box full of lithium batteries with no bollards around it. So if a vehicle were to strike that box and it impacted the structure as to cause a short on the breaker side of the battery, there would be an arc flash explosion, probably a Category 5, which would send out molten metal 35 to 50 feet. So it's quite a hazard sitting there, and it would have been picked up had you gone through the building code requirements of 20-44. It also violates the federal code.
Quickly, I'm going to finish my testimony from January 30th. These 4G, 5G so-called small cell phone towers installed in Santa Rosa's residential zones are part of an envisioned national surveillance and crowd control grid. Once these towers get installed 15 to 50 feet from people's homes, two very bad things will happen. Number one, first, the massive uninsured liabilities these wireless companies face right now. They tell their shareholders about it. For injuries from such RF microwave radiation exposures, they will be transferred to the municipalities naive enough to allow private microwave transmitters to be melded onto city-owned light or utility poles, which creates a dangerous condition of public property. This oversight could bankrupt Santa Rosa. You should be very careful about allowing Verizon antennas to go on any public property and not on your own light poles. Second, once these towers get installed, any company or government entity, by law, can climb the pole and modify the equipment on this pole at will, without any public review, significantly increasing both the height and the width, 10 feet up, 6 feet out. And what can they do? At just 15 to 50 feet from their homes, existing wireless microwave transmitters without cameras can bounce microwaves off the interior of everyone's home, and they can image every room. They can listen to every person-to-person conversation. Don't have to tap a phone anymore. This can all happen when you're 15 to 50 feet from someone's home. So each of you, City Council members, took oaths to protect your residents' inalienable rights to both privacy and safety. With the information we are entering into the public record, you are receiving, and you should treat seriously, this notice of liability. You each will face personal liability if you ignore the substantial information that we are entering into the public record and proceed with the existing plan of installing 72 4G, 5G so-called small cell phone towers in Santa Rosa's residential zones that don't even follow your own municipal codes. That finishes my testimony from last week. On a lighter note, you may remember a colorful catcher named Yogi Berra. He had a bunch of yogiisms. His favorite one is, "This is deja vu all over again." Well, that's what's happening now. I am telling you, from the 1960s to right now, we had a scientist who was removed from a scientific study before the actual conclusions were written. It just happened again in 2018. They removed the director of the National Toxicology Program, and they put a Trump appointee in there to change the conclusions. Happened again.
Thank you, Mr. McGavin. Eileen Bill.